Welcome, my vital visionaries, to the very first episode of the Mutant Chronicles, the Ordered Saga, a show where we meticulously break down the greatest X-Men stories ever told. And now you might be thinking, will you be covering the original stuff, the very first issues? And that's a fair question. Let's be real. The early adventures, from the original Sentinel Saga to Kazar, they had their moments. But they were also from a different era, and the modern mythology we all know and love hadn't quite taken root yet. But hey, quick, a fun fact you might not know. When Stan Lee first pitched the name X-Men to his publisher Martin Goodman, it was rejected. Goodman was worried about what the X stood for, and Lee had tried a few others like The Mutants, but eventually Goodman relented and he was able to use the X-Men. And the rest is history. And it wasn't until a few key stories that the X-Men truly found their voice and became the legendary team that we know today. This series is about focusing on those monumental stories, the ones that matter the most. We're here to build your definitive ordered omnibus, a curated reading list of the X-Men's most essential character-defining sagas. We're skipping the filler and getting right to the good stuff. Now, our starting point is the arc that truly begins to forge the X-Men's modern mythology, the original Sentinel Trilogy, from X-Men 14 through 16. So get ready, because this is where the Sentinels, those towering mutant-hunting robots, first burst onto the scene. Not simply a one-off threat, but a chilling and persistent symbol of the fear that defined the X-Men's world. This isn't just a big robot fight. This is a story that gives us a debut for the Master Mold, and most importantly, the shocking introduction of the man who created it all, Bolivar Trask. This is a landmark story for a crucial reason. In the mid-1960s, America was in the midst of their civil rights movement. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby drew on that reality, using the Sentinels as a direct allegory for racial prejudice and the dangers of a society consumed by fear. Bolivar Trask, with his irrational hatred and fear-driven creations, became a powerful and chilling symbol of that era's deep-seated bigotry. This story is a powerful piece of social commentary that sets the stage for the X-Men's ongoing role as a metaphor for the struggle against discrimination. It is the perfect starting point for our ordered omnibus. Our story kicks off with Professor Xavier finally giving his X-Men a much-needed break, especially after their brutal clash with the Juggernaut in X-Men 12 and 13. But for our merry mutants, peace is always fleeting. Xavier soon spots Dr. Bolivar Trask, a renowned anthropologist, publicly denouncing mutants as a clear and present danger to humanity. Knowing the perils of public hysteria, Xavier challenges Trask to a televised debate, aiming to bridge the gap of misunderstanding. However, Trask isn't just about talk. He dramatically unveils his solution: towering, menacing robots called the Sentinels, specifically designed to guard humanity against its perceived mutant menace. But here's the classic sci-fi twist, true believers. Trask, despite his brilliance, is no cybernetics expert. His creations quickly prove too intelligent for their own good. The Sentinels, driven by their prime directive to protect humanity, logically deduce that the best way to achieve this would be to rule humanity, starting with their own creator. They turn on Trask, capture him, and ordering him to build more of their kind. Xavier, sensing the escalating danger, mentally recalls his students. The X-Men arrive on the scene, engaging one of the rogue Sentinels, only for it to mysteriously power down. Following this strange clue, they discover the Sentinels' hidden headquarters, but not before the base's formidable defenses spring to life, launching a counterattack that traps our heroes. With the Sentinels' hidden headquarters revealed, the X-Men launch their direct assault. But these machines are formidable, seriously tough nuts to crack. Beast and the Iceman are quickly captured and yanked inside the fortress by its intricate defense systems. Thinking fast, Professor X telepathically disrupts the internal robots, operating the base's weapons with bolts of pure mental energy, giving Cyclops, Angel, and Marvel Girl a crucial opening to infiltrate. And inside, they manage to free Iceman, but the Beast has already been whisked away to the Master Mold, the colossal central Sentinel, basically a robot factory. Xavier, tirelessly monitoring the situation from afar, telepathically observes as Hank is subjected to the terrifying Psycho Probe, forcing him to reveal his mutant origins. But just as the Beast is on the verge of spilling too much critical info, Professor X telepathically intervenes, throwing a wrench into the Master Mold's process. However, the Master Mold is no fool, fellow fanatics. It immediately detects Xavier's unauthorized mental presence and floods the chamber with microelectric particles, gravely endangering Professor's astral form. Despite Xavier's valiant efforts, the sheer numerical superiority and advanced weapons of the Sentinels inside of the fortress prove overwhelming, and one by one, our X-Men are systematically defeated and captured, leaving them at the mercy of their metallic oppressors. With his X-Men captured and his astral form barely escaping the Master Mold's trap, Professor Xavier races against time back at the disabled unit in the city. He meticulously examines its design. Through sheer mental brilliance, Xavier uncovers the Sentinels' vulnerability. They operate at a specific frequency, and an interfering signal can disrupt them. He quickly realizes the giant crystal atop the nearby Crystal Products building is causing that exact same interference, giving him a daring idea on how to turn the tide. Meanwhile, within the Master Mold's lair, Bolivar Trask, horrified by his creation's betrayal and their plan to enslave humanity, makes a desperate choice. Master Mold attempts to force Trask into creating more Sentinels by threatening mass destruction. But Trask, witnessing the true horror of his misguided ambition, refuses. And in a moment of tragic heroism, the anthropologist makes the ultimate sacrifice. He deliberately destroys the iconic power source powering the Master Mold. The core chamber explodes, triggering a catastrophic chain reaction that threatens to demolish the entire Sentinel's fortress. Outside, Xavier's plan has come to fruition as he orchestrates helicopters to carry the giant crystal over the city, blanketing the area in a disruptive frequency. Inside of the collapsing stronghold, the X-Men, leveraging the chaos and the Sentinels' malfunctioning systems, barely manage to escape the exploding complex, emerging victorious, but shaken. And that, lore keepers, is the explosive conclusion to the very first Sentinel Trilogy. From Bolivar Trask's misguided fear to his ultimate sacrifice, and the X-Men's narrow escape from his deadly creations. This arc is a masterclass in establishing a reoccurring thematic threat. It's a stark reminder that fear and unchecked technology can be just as dangerous as any supervillain. This foundational story not only launched the Sentinels into mutant history, but it cemented the X-Men's role as protectors in a world that fears them. As the dust settles on this epic battle, the stage is now perfectly set for the next chapter in the lives of our merry mutants. So what's next? Get ready to see the X-Men face a threat that is relentless, unstoppable, and born from it's the Sentinels. We're plunging headfirst into episode 2, The Sentinels Return, Do or Die, baby. We're ripping straight through the X-Men 57, 58, and 59 from 1969, featuring a pivotal moment that is often cited as the official beginning of the Bronze Age of comics. We're getting a major rematch with the Sentinels and meeting some new fan-favorite characters. You don't want to miss it.